thanks for taking some time to talk with us today about small business. We hear a lot about small businesses these days, and wondering a little bit about how you think of small businesses. How do you define a small business?
Well, I think as most people know, the vast majority of businesses in the country, especially here in Rhode Island, are defined as a small business. Different definitions. SBA says a small business can have revenues up to $35 million. The standard definition is usually revenues up to $7 million, employees 500 or less qualify as a small business. So as you can imagine, that encompasses the vast majority of businesses, especially in our state.
Yeah. Is it a good time to start a small business now?
Well, a good time, I guess, economically speaking, the economy is starting to roll. I think we're even seeing it here in Rhode Island, which we tend to lag behind the rest of the country. A lot of the economic indicators that are coming out say that Rhode Island is really starting to move in the right direction. I think Len Lodaro said it best. It's not quite ready time to pop the champagne corks, but we are certainly moving in the right direction. So if a person has a great idea and they feel very passionate about it and they have a good plan in place, certainly a good time to start a small business.
So can anybody start a small business?
Oh, sure. Anyone can start a small business. Depending on what type of business they want, it's important to have a business plan. It's important to have financial projections. It's important to have the idea that you want to do, have experience in what you want to get into, and be able to sell that, I guess is the best term, to a financial institution such as Navigant Credit Union for us to make a decision as to how we can help by lending them some money.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about the steps that one might go through. I've got a great idea, okay? I'm Joe or Jane, business person. I think I want to start a business. How do I go about doing it? What's step one?
Well, again, step one is having the idea, having the thought of what it is you want to do and why you want to do it, and how are you going to be able to convince us that you're the right person for that business. Most people that want to start a small business try to do it at least in an area they have expertise, experience. Maybe they don't want to work for someone anymore. They feel that they can do it better, maybe on a smaller scale, maybe on a larger scale. So you have to have, in our view, you have to have experience. You have to have a good resume. Sell us on the idea of why this business makes sense, especially in the market where they're going to develop that business.
You have a great analogy that you tell us all the time about expertise in a particular area of business.
Right. So I always like to say, I'm a banker, and I decide maybe I'm a little tired of banking. I want to go open up a restaurant. Probably not a good idea. But I'm a good cook. Probably not a good idea. So we always say, but if somebody does want to open up a restaurant and they have restaurant experience, maybe they've worked in restaurants for a good period of time, and they have put together a plan that makes sense with reasonable projections. We, with the help of the Small Business Administration, will look at that deal, and if it makes sense to us, sure, we'll take a chance, because that's how small businesses start in this world and in this country. Somebody has to take a chance on someone. We like to help small businesses grow. We like to help small businesses start.
So we're going to come back to SBA in just a second, but you talked about a business plan. So for the average person who's never started a business before, who has no real experience in it, what is a business plan, and what are the components of it?
So a business plan is kind of like I call it a short story. Maybe it's a 2 or 3 page summary of what this business is they'd like to start, why they think it's the right idea, a resume. Very important are 3 years of financial projections. So we want to see revenue projections. We want to see what we call an opening day balance sheet. What is that going to look like as far as cash in the bank? What type of loans are they seeking? What type of equipment do they need to buy? Do they need to renovate a building? Things of that nature. Business plans don't need to be books. They need to be maybe 5 or 10 pages, maybe a little more in some cases, but that's usually more than enough for a financial institution to make a decision that this is a good plan and we support your idea and here's how we can help.
So I come to you with a business plan. I say, Jeff, I need some capital. I need to get started. I've got this great idea. Here's my prototype. You may not necessarily say, okay, great, the credit union is going to give you all the money. You need somebody to help you sort of back that loan, and that's when we
Correct.
talk about the SBA. Tell us a little bit about the SBA and how that impacts starting small.
So the SBA is a program. They provide government guaranteed it's a loan program that they will provide a guarantee. The SBA doesn't exactly lend money. The financial institution lends money. So Navigant, with the help of the SBA, will make a loan to an individual, whatever the dollar amount is, and then depending on that dollar amount and depending on the program, the SBA will provide the credit union with a government guarantee that in the event the business fails at any time during the term of that loan, the government will back us up with up to an 85% guarantee of any balance remaining after a liquidation or dissolution of the company.
But a financial institution is still not going to just say, we'll give you the loan because the SBA's backing us. There still has to be some diligence on everybody's part.
Sure. So what's presented to us is a financial projection. We're going to vet that projection and try to make sure the numbers make sense. Yeah. We do a cash flow analysis, a debt service coverage analysis. We want to make sure that the projections, A, are reasonable, realistic, and will the income provided or the revenues provided by this company provide sufficient net cash after all expenses other than the loan to pay the loan, and with a little bit of extra coverage. Okay. And that's something we would talk to the potential borrower about in detail when they come in. The issue is having that business plan, and some people say, well, I don't know where to begin. Yeah. How do I make up a business plan? There are resources here in Rhode Island. There's the Small Business Development Center, SBDC. They are business professionals, most of them are retirees, that work with individuals, that come in with an idea for a business. They will help them craft a business plan, including financial projections, including the story that needs to be told, including what is needed by the borrower for capital, equipment, furniture, fixtures, things of that nature, possibly even a line of credit to have for operating cash flow during the first 3 to 6 months, first year, when it's difficult. It's not easy to just get a business off the ground. Because you build it, they may not come. So you got to have some cash in the bank to get through those first operating cycles, depending on the type of business. Or if it's a retail business, you've got to bring customers in. So you need to spend a little money on marketing. You need to spend a little money on employees, wages and salaries that have to be, because you have to have people there to wait on people when they come in. So that's kind of an operating cash line of credit in some cases that we can provide as well.
Now, do all credit unions offer business loans, or?
I wouldn't say all. I know there are several in Rhode Island that do. Yep. I think Navigant certainly leads the way as far as credit unions go when it comes to commercial lending and small business loans.
Becoming a little more popular with credit unions to provide these business loans?
I think so, sure. I mean, business loans can provide a better rate of return for the credit union.
Okay.
But they're more difficult to do, and they're more challenging, and there's certainly more risk. So we like to help small businesses get started, and I think we've been very, very good at it, especially over the last 4 or 5 years.
So you're saying that credit unions are lending right now?
Absolutely. I think that credit unions have proven over time, and the argument in Congress has been made, we're lending money. We are lending money to small businesses, where sometimes a lot of the banks may not be lending to the smaller businesses that we look at for whatever their reason is. It's fine, but I think we have found our niche, and we are very involved in every community where we have a location, and we're certainly happy to help out.
Typical loan size?
I would say typical loan size is probably somewhere between $10,000 and $250,000. It really depends. But I would say it really just depends on the business and what they need.
Any markets you see stronger these days than another? Are restaurants starting? Are manufacturing companies starting? Service
I think manufacturing in Rhode Island is better than most people think it is.
Yeah.
We've found some really good manufacturing companies out there that have done very well in their niche market. I think we have what we call our emerging markets in cities like Central Falls, Providence, Pawtucket, those areas. And yes, we've seen a lot of restaurant activity, new restaurants that have opened, small retail operations that have opened. So these emerging markets are a great source for us to see if we can help out. We have small business owners meetings in our Central Falls location once every 3 months, roughly. We have great turnouts. You know, we have 30 to 60 people that show up to these meetings, and we try to gear each meeting to small business, whether it's how do you start. We had people from the Secretary of State's office in one time that came in and explained the process of getting licensed and getting set up with that office. And so I think it's very helpful for people. And then we stick around after the meeting and we answer lots of questions. And it's resulted in some small business loans for us.
Yeah, it's great. It's really about bringing people and resources together. And the credit unions are really good at doing that. Yes. Providing education, and then certainly capital for small businesses to work. Hey Jeff, thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for talking to us about small business.